Hello, you're watching VNA News and now headlines.
The Vietnamese government inspectorate and its Lao counterpart shared experience in inspection work. The General Statistics Office reported the August Consumer Price Index (CPI) dropped 0.07% from July, largely due to recent fuel price cuts. Japan and 5 countries from the Mekong sub-region approved a blueprint to speed up the region's industrialization process from now to 2020.
A delegation of the Vietnamese government inspectorate, led by Inspector General Huỳnh Phong Chanh, held talks with its Lao counterpart, headed by Inspector General Bun Thong Chimani, in Hanoi on August 25th. More on the following.
Speaking at the event, Inspector General Huỳnh Phong Chanh highly valued the results of cooperation between the two government inspectorates in recent past. He affirmed that the ongoing visit is a great opportunity for both sides to further discuss and exchange experience, thus strengthening the friendly and cooperative relations between the two inspection agencies in particular and between Vietnam and Laos in general. At the talks, the two sides informed each other on socio-economic development in their respective countries over the last 6 months and shared experience in the fight against corruption and inspection activities. They vowed to continue boosting cooperation in the inspection work, handling complaints and combating corruption, thereby contributing to the enhancement of the traditional friendship and solidarity between Vietnam and Laos.
Institution reform, integration and improvement of enterprises' competitiveness in the new context with the focus of discussions during a workshop in the center city of Da Nang on August 25th. Our reporters will have the full story.
Hosted by the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry (VCCI), the event was designed to help local businesses get ready to cope with adverse impacts from the world economy. Statistics released by the VCCI show that the domestic business community has seen progress in their operations in the first half of this year. Newly and additionally registered capital from domestic enterprises amount to 591 trillion Vietnam dong, equivalent to $26.2 billion. Domestically invested firms also created jobs for 650,000 workers, a year-on-year surge of 20%. These performances resulted from the government's flexible and drastic management, as well as efforts of the business community and enterprise associations. In order to improve the competitive edge of businesses and the economy at large, participants emphasized the need to position and restructure domestic enterprises alongside with pushing reforms of institutions and administrative procedures.
The General Statistics Office reported the August Consumer Price Index dropped 0.07% from July, largely due to recent fuel price cuts. This was the first time in a decade the CPI in August has declined as compared with the previous month. 7 out of the 11 key goods and service categories saw price hikes in August. The biggest increase, 0.87%, was recorded in the price of education, while the lowest rise of 0.03% was seen in medicine and healthcare services. Slight increases were witnessed in food and restaurants, 0.1%, beverages and tobacco, 0.07%, and garments, footwear and hats, 0.28%. Meanwhile, 4 categories that saw price falls in the month included transport, 2.12%, housing and building materials, 0.45%, and other commodities and services, 0.02%. According to the General Statistics Office, the basic inflation in August increased 0.1% against the previous month and 1.98% compared to the same period last year, bringing the 8-month figure to 2.19%. Economic experts said the low inflation rate will help facilitate economic growth.
The inflation rate decreased due to price falls of fuel and other commodities, while the economy and its purchasing power have recovered. I think the CPI drop is not a worrying problem.
Giving forecast on the next CPI, the General Statistics Office said that the index will be likely to rise slightly because of increasing demands for foodstuff, school fee adjustments, and rising prices of imported commodities. The Management Board of Industrial Zones in the southern province of Dong Nai has granted licenses to 7 foreign direct investment projects worth over $32 million in August. Our reporters will bring more details.
Additionally, 2 existing projects received permission to add a combined $4.5 million to their registered capital in the month. The figures brought the total amount of registered FDI in the province industrial parks in the January to August period to $1.5 billion, with 63 new projects and 33 raising their capital. Newly arrived projects have rented 122 hectares in the local industrial zones, focusing on Long Thành, Lộc Ban Bình Sơn, and An Phước in Long Thành district, Nhơn Trạch, Ông Kèo in Nhơn Trạch district, Dầu Dây in Thống Nhất district, and Giang Điền in Trảng Bom district. As a result, by mid-August of 2015, 29 industrial parks in Dong Nai province had hosted 1,389 projects, including 1,014 FDI ones, by investors from 42 nations and territories, worth a total of $19 billion. The Management Board attributed the results to good transport infrastructure in the province and suitable incentives for investors.
The Ministry of Construction has reported that the consumption of cement and clinker on the domestic market saw a year-on-year growth of 10% to 40.98 million tons in the first 7 months of this year.
According to the ministry, in July only, 6.5 million tons of cement was sold on the domestic market. The growing use of cement was attributed to the higher demand in technical infrastructure construction projects, including transport, hydropower, and social housing construction. Increasing demand in the local real estate market is another reason behind the growth of the domestic consumption of cement. Meanwhile, cement export reached a year-on-year rise of 13% to 9.77 million tons in the first 7 months of this year, including 1.35 million tons in July. The ministry said the price of input materials for production was increased continuously, though the selling price of cement has stabilized. In the reviewed period, the local cement industry has seen a trend of expanding production in major cement enterprises.
The Industrial Production Index of Hanoi in the first 8 months of this year grew 7.4% year-on-year, the Municipal Statistics Department has reported. In the 8-month period, the manufacturing of transformers with capacity less than 650 kVA recorded the highest growth of 41.3%. It was followed by motorized vehicles and spare parts, with respective increases of 40.9% and 32.9%. The production of construction ropes surged 31%, furniture up 30.3%, and medicine pharmaceutical chemistry up 25.7%. The surging industry was also contributed by a significant growth in the production of paper and wooden products, costumes, fridges, ranging between 70.1% and 19.3%. A modest increase of 11.2% was witnessed in the production of non-metal materials, while chemicals and commercial electricity saw the same rise of 9% in the period. A recent study shows that once a free trade agreement between Vietnam and the European Union is signed and becomes effective, the deal is likely to contribute 0.5% to Vietnam's GDP and at least 4% to the country's exports. Our reporters will have the full story.
Noticeably, the EU will eliminate 71% of its tariffs levied on Vietnamese products, presenting a major opportunity for many Vietnamese exports, especially garments and textiles, footwear and aquatic products. The EU is currently one of Vietnam's largest importers. Trade between Vietnam and the bloc reached some $36.8 billion last year, up 9% against the previous year. In the first half of this year, Vietnam-EU trade posted $21.83 billion, up 7.9% year-on-year and equivalent to 10% of Vietnam's total trade turnover. Vietnamese shipments to the bloc made up 21% of the country's total exports between January and June, while commodities imported from the EU accounted for 6.5% of the total import value of the Southeast Asia country. Bilateral trade is expected to soar once the free trade agreement is implemented.
Vâng, thưa ông có thể đánh giá về triển vọng kim ngạch thương mại giữa Việt Nam và EU khi FTA chính thức được ký kết ạ?
Vietnam will gain a lot from this agreement with the European Union for some reason. First of all, most of the important products exported at this time by Vietnam will benefit from free duties from the European Union in the next few years, especially textiles products, textiles and garments, footwear products, seafood products will benefit from a substantial liberalization from the side of the European Union. In 7 years after the entry into force of the agreement, all the tariff applied on this type of products will be reduced to zero. And this is an important step for Vietnam. Moreover, all the other products of Vietnam exported into the European Union will benefit from a 0% customs duties.
Những lợi ích mà FTA mang lại cho nền kinh tế Việt Nam thì đã rất rõ, còn đối với người tiêu dùng thì sẽ được hưởng những lợi ích như thế nào khi mà hiệp định FTA Việt Nam EU được ký kết ạ?
First of all, they will have access to products, very high quality products imported from Europe at a lower price because the barriers applied by Vietnam will be lowered in few years. And this is very important for some types of products. For example, for textiles and garments products produced by important European companies, for wine, for spirits, alcoholic drinks, automotive imported from Europe, and motorcycles imported from Europe. So a number of products produced in Europe will be imported at a much lower price into Vietnam.
Vâng, xin cảm ơn ông đã trả lời phỏng vấn trên truyền hình Thông tấn.
Vietnam has been proactive in taking measures and implementing programs to prevent the spread of animal diseases to humans. This information was released at an international conference in Hanoi on August 25th.
The conference showed Vietnam's active role as the pioneering country in efforts to prevent the spread of animal diseases to humans, especially newly emerged dangerous diseases under the Global Health Security Agenda. It aims to raise awareness and share experience in preventing animal diseases transmissions to humans, as well as promoting activities between countries in the region and the world to achieve the 5-year plan, the action package to prevent the spread of diseases from animals to humans. Over the past years, Vietnam has implemented many activities to improve the capability of the health and agricultural sectors for early detection and response to diseases transmittable from animals to humans, and increase the intersector, regional and international cooperation.
Japan and 5 countries from the Mekong sub-region have approved a blueprint designed to speed up the region's industrialization process from now to 2020.
The plan was adopted at a meeting in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on August 24th between the Japanese Minister for Economy, Trade and Industry and his counterparts from Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar and Thailand. The meeting took place on the sidelines of the annual ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting with dialogue partners, including Japan. Under the blueprint known as Mekong Industrial Development Vision, a set of policy directions are devised. They include harmonizing standards and certification to ease the flow of cross-border trade, developing special border economic zones, and collaborating with Japanese universities and industries to foster the development of skilled workforces and promote research and development activities. A work program with specific actions and timelines will be formulated in collaboration with various agencies, like the Japan International Cooperation Agency, the Japan External Trade Organization, and the Asia Development Bank for submission to the next Mekong-Japan Economic Ministers meeting in 2016.
And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.